Greetings and salutations. Thank you for lending an ear to the voice of the times this Sunday, October 24, 2021. For today's editorial, U.S. Congress shows right use of contempt powers. The case of Stephen Bannon, the top aide of former U.S. President Donald Trump, is not only relevant as a news item. Compared to how the Philippine Senate cites people in contempt, the Bannon case also serves as a reminder of how lawmakers could wield their power without violating the constitutional and human rights of individuals. Recently, American congressmen voted to cite Mr. Bannon in contempt after he ignored a subpoena to testify in a hearing about the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. Under their system, the U.S. Department of Justice, or DOJ, will decide whether to prosecute Mr. Bannon. Note that, like in the Philippines, the US DOJ belongs to the executive branch. If the US DOJ decides to prosecute, the contempt case goes before a grand jury, which acts as a guard against wrongful prosecution. The grand jury will hear arguments from both prosecutors and the defense team of Mr. Bannon, and will decide if there is enough evidence to charge him with a crime of contempt in a court of law. Of course, courts belong to the judicial branch. If the grand jury rules against Mr. Bannon, only then will he be charged in court. The legal term for being charged or accused is called an indictment. And if Mr. Bannon is found guilty after a court trial, after that, then he faces sentencing. The maximum penalty for ignoring the U.S. Congress's subpoena is a year in prison and a $100,000 fine. This is separate from the penalties he might face in the January 6 incident. Many Filipinos might ask why Americans go through all those steps. The U.S. Constitution, very much like the 1987 Constitution of the Philippines that copied it, mandates due process. Both constitutions respect basic rights that are normal in all democracies, including provisions that guarantee that no person shall be deprived of life or liberty without due process. Of course, the two constitutions are non-identical, but both are built on similar core principles, including the separation of powers assigned to each branch of government. Family case. In the hearing of alleged overpricing of personal protective equipment, or PPE, the Philippine Senate seems to be ignoring those core principles, especially the protections under our Bill of Rights. Through mere Senate rules, lawmakers have appropriated powers assigned to the executive branch to prosecute witnesses cited for contempt and detain them without a court trial for that offense. Senator Francis Kiko Pangilinan, who is running for vice president in the 2022 elections, even moved to transfer the Senate's detainee from its building to the Pasay City Jail. Meanwhile, Senator Ana Teresa Riza Ontiveros, who is seeking re-election, seems to have lost her human rights principles and was all for detaining witnesses simply for being evasive or for allegedly lying under oath. In fairness to Senator Richard Dick Gordon, who heads the Blue Ribbon panel, this overreach by lawmakers has been practiced in the past by other senators and by congressmen in our House of Representatives. But that does not make them right. As we said before, the crimes alleged in the PPE procurement case may be true. The government officials and family executives being grilled may be guilty as accused, but the power to determine guilt belongs to the courts, not the Senate. And certainly the power to detain individuals, regardless of how guilty they may be portrayed in congressional hearings, belongs to the executive branch. Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson, who is running for president also in next year's polls, defended the Blue Ribbon Committee's actions as justifiable under Senate rules. With all due respect, presidential aspirants should reread the Bill of Rights and remember that no law or rule trumps the 1987 Constitution. To be clear, we also want justice to be served. If there was graft and corruption in the procurement of PPE sets, then let the perpetrators face justice. Prosecute them in court. And if found guilty, let them suffer the maximum penalties provided by law. We are not arguing over procedures. Basic and other constitutional rights should not be sacrificed in the pursuit of justice. Certainly, they should not be set aside for political convenience. And that's the editorial for Sunday, October 24, 2021. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print, subscribe to our digital edition, or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and listen to The Voice of the Times.